All right. Welcome back. We will reconvene in open session. Ms. Castillo, would you please lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Castillo. We will open the floor for public testimony. During meetings of the Board of Trustees, members of the public have an opportunity to comment on items that appear on the agenda, regular or special meetings, or items that not appear on the agenda, which are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Speakers may not yield or donate their time to another speaker. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. So I'm going to invite Kenneth Edwards to speak.
Can my wife speak first?
Sure. Mrs. Edwards, please.
Good evening, distinguished board members. Thank you for your time. My name is Amina Edwards. On August 28, 2005, my freshman was sent home with an unlawful action or removal letter from BUSD nurse regarding vaccinations. My child had a medical exemption on file, which we were accused of being a fake. I was unlawfully and inaccurately accused of forging documents. My child faced removal by the school district on September 11, 2025. I'd like you to note that that date has passed almost 2 weeks ago, as did so many other students. I demanded my child's right to an appeal. That next day, my other son, a junior, received the same threat in regard to his medical exemption, which had been on file with the district since 2017. My children were threatened with a new removal order for August 29th, that same day. I again requested a BUSD appeal and was denied due process by the existing nurse, Amy Hanley. To end my phone call, she then decided she was going to revoke my existing medical exemptions after she proved they were in fact real, without providing me reason or proof of why she was able to revoke these medical exemptions. Only after my husband and I sent out a mass email to all of you, the board, where we granted our due process a rightful appeal to these actions. Finally, after getting this appeal with student services, we were officially informed of the reasoning and provided with proof, but we had to fight to get it. So many others probably didn't even know that they had that right. My husband and I spent the next week informing your district of the lawful protocols when revoking a medical exemption. Protocols put in place by the governor and the CDPH. We had received 4 different letters per child regarding protocols because your nurse did not know what they were. We had to inform the nurse of what the protocols and laws stated. We should not have to do this. If you are going to revoke a medical exemption, you should know the laws and the protocols for doing so. After demanding rightful due process and appeal, I was informed that other students were possibly and unlawfully being threatened to vaccinate or forced with removal, most likely students with disabilities. After informing your district of violating FERPA, CARE, and the Students with Disability Act, the district then made a decision to put out a district-wide notice regarding authorization of services of students with disabilities within the district. This includes homeschool students, by the way, and I hope you all know that. Sadly, in my own distress over my own children, I realized I did not do my Christian duty of advocating for all of these students
I'm sorry,
and the
but-
students.
I'm sorry, but your time is up.
Good morning, or afternoon. Okay, so my name's Ken Edwards, again, my wife, Amina. My main purpose coming up here is to make sure the school district understands what the nursing staff in Beaumont Unified School District is doing. Violating FERPA laws, violating the exemption laws alone, you guys are, not you guys, but the staff are going and retroactively removing exemptions that were already grandfathered in per SB 277. We tried to bring that up many times, but per SB 277, not only do the personal belief exemptions still apply up to 2016, but it also grandfathers in exemptions. We just want to make sure that we know our due diligence, that your staff knows their due diligence. We want to advocate for all children in this process, children that have medical issues for exemption for immunizations. They have medical issues, and they are disabled to a certain degree. And so we just want the same fairness that everyone has. We ask that anything that was reviewed in the late August of 2025, not just our children, anybody's children being exempt, their exemptions taken away, or immunization records being reviewed, we want you guys to review those and see which ones were effective. Not effective, but which ones were unlawful. And we want all parents to understand, watching on video or future, that you guys have rights, parents have rights. And a 30-day notice should be applied for an appeal, not a 10-day notice. The nursing staff should know what they're doing before they send it out. It's not right that we have to fight just to have the school district assist us. Our children, our son is, the junior is number 2 in the class. Our freshman is number 1 in the class. They're receiving all kind of letters from colleges already. But it's pretty evident that the school district didn't want them in the school. I will say that when we had to sit down with student services, they were helpful, but I tell you, the nursing staff was not. We filed a federal civil rights complaint, and we filed a complaint with the school district through your guys' portal. Right now, I think it's Richards is assisting us with the school district. He's been amazing. We appreciate that, but it's unfortunate that we had to get that far just to get assistance. We were essentially given a letter saying, hey, you have 10 days, 10 days, figure it out. I'm like, that's not fair. Luckily, our children have 2 parents that are feisty. Imagine the parents who do not and just sat back and took what was given. That's not right. We think there should be change, and we are pretty much demanding you review what this nurse Hanley has done to other children.
Thank you very much. Sonia.
Hi, good evening, members of the board and Ms. Mace Kakish. Good to see everybody. I'm just here to speak on a few different things that I've had on my mind. I have listened to some of the board comments since the beginning of the school year. I know there is a district-wide concern for expanded learning opportunities programs. I have heard Mr. Griffin, and he's been very gracious to respond to my questions, so I appreciate that from Mr. Griffin. He did share with me that there will be an expanded learning plan presented to the board next month, which I think is great. I have extended an invitation to him to join us for our next FACE meeting taking place October 2nd, but I know there's a conflict of schedules there and he will not be able to join us. But I am proposing that there is time scheduled for the community and the families to ask questions regarding that plan that will be presented. I know that there will probably be some sharing of how the funds are used. I think there is there's a need for more transparency on part of the district to the community. People question where the funds go. We have doubled in funds for our Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, which I think is amazing. I think that's a great opportunity. And we really need to try to see how we can figure out the situation. I've used after-school programs, I think, since my kids were little, and I think Beaumont's always done a great job. There's so many new families that are coming in. And my concern is going back to the bond that didn't pass last year. I know there was a great need for that money because there's facilities that need to be fixed, there's things that need to be done. So that was a great big hit for us. But I think we really need to work on community engagement and building relationships. And that comes from everybody at the district, right? So the administrative level, the board. When there's opportunities that we have to engage with the community, please take those. That's really going to help for the future if there's another bond ever put on the ballot. People don't understand where the money goes, and there really needs to be more transparency. So I'm just proposing that when that plan does come and it's presented to the board, that there's an opportunity for the public to ask questions, not just come to the board meeting and say something, because there's not always an immediate response. So maybe like a public hearing, or just scheduling separate time for Mr. Griffin to kind of have a discussion like we've done with LCAP in the past for the family, so that they understand where the money is going and how we can resolve the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. All right. Item 8.1, approve the recommended action on the request for readmission for expelled pupil pursuant to Education Code 48916 and 31546. Student discipline case number 202324-11.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. And the motion carries. Oral reports, report out of closed session. There is no report out of closed session today. We will receive a report from our student board member, Petra Rathfelder, please.
Good evening, board members, cabinet, and community members. I'm excited to share about our elementary school site's great events, activities, and accomplishments. The school year is underway at Anahaas Elementary School, and we are thankful for the support from district staff to welcome each student back. This year, the school is focused on student-to-student interaction, as shown in the top right picture, in which a first grade classroom is holding a morning meeting. Social emotional learning is also being highlighted this month. Pictured at the bottom left are calming kits, which were distributed to each classroom. The early childhood team continues to grow. In the bottom right photo, students are shown enjoying the library. Lastly, Anahaas was awarded the Silver Implementation Award from California PBIS, the Positive Behavioral Interventions and Support Systems. The students of Brookside Elementary School are off to a great start to the year. Students completed the Apex fundraiser, which supports student field trips and community engagement opportunities. The Brookside Library space has been transformed for the first library of the school year, book fair. Many students and families come before and after school to select a new book. Students also received the PBIS Silver Implementation Award. Excellent work to the Brookside PBIS team, and thanks to Dr. Carr for her ongoing support. Lastly, thank you for the members of the Brookside Parent-Teacher Association for your support in making these extra student opportunities possible. Palm Innovation Academy had a VIP lunch party celebrating students with excellent attendance. The school's Color Spirit Days were a huge success. These events are especially meaningful for the transitional kindergarten and kinder students because they help students learn their colors while building school spirit and community. The school also hosted their first awards assembly of the year, recognizing students who meet or exceed expectations on the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress. It was a wonderful way to honor their hard work and inspire others. Starlight Elementary welcomes students to the 2025 school year. The transitional kindergarten and kindergarten students learned their colors during their Color Spirit Days. Starlight Elementary School held their Family Reading Day, bringing students and families together to celebrate the joy of reading. Starlight was recognized by the state of California with platinum recognition for our outstanding implementation of positive behavior interventions and support. Classified and certificated team members of Sundance Elementary School were recognized for their perfect attendance last month. Students also earned popsicles after 8 days of perfect attendance in a classroom. Start with Hello Week was a success at Sundance as students and staff welcomed each other and helped everyone feel connected to their school. Students were proud to show off their school spirit with new school shirts. Three Rings Ranch Elementary School was recognized by the state of California for their implementation of positive behavior intervention and support with gold recognition. Third grade students celebrated their Grandparents for Grandparents Day, making a special craft together. Staff shout-outs keep the spirits high at Three Rings Ranch. Congratulations to Ms. Haley for being the staff shout-out of the week. Fourth grade students gathered around, excited to reveal their new house. Students and staff of Three Rings Ranch wore green on Green Day to help the younger students learn their colors. Tournament Hills Elementary School celebrated International Dot Day, which is a time to celebrate everyone's talents and unique gifts, starting with one dot. Our new students have all been sorted into houses. Younger students have an older grade level buddy and are having fun in their houses with chants, activities, and competitions. Beaumont Library District provided a presentation of our second and third grade students. Kindergarten students celebrated learning the alphabet with a special ABC boot camp event. The first day of school at Summerman Trails Elementary was a huge success. The staff and the leadership students proudly welcomed new students to the 2025 school year. They played music, held signs, and cheered when they stepped through the gates. The first big event that Summerwind Trails School celebrated was House Sorting Day. All the new students were sorted into their houses during a whole school event, creating a fun and welcoming environment. Students have been wearing all the colors of the rainbow to help the younger students learn their colors. The first color day was red. As always, thank you to all of our parents, families, and students and staff. This concludes the presentation on events and activities taking place at our elementary school sites. Thank you.
Thank you, Petra. We will now receive a report from our superintendent and review the district calendar for the months of September and October.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start by highlighting that Summerwind Trails had received 3 new classrooms this September, and they were opened on September 8th. Nice. And this was much needed because of our student growth in that area, and the project was completed using funding from the 2008 voter-approved Measure Z bond. The Student of the Month event at Sizzlers in Banning, with the support of many community partners, was very emotional this time, as I think Mr. Sanchez has stated in a different event. There was great stories by the students and their path through education and getting to being seniors. Just makes you so hopeful that our students are resilient and they will overcome a lot of things before they can actually give up. So it was so rewarding to attend that meeting. And thanks for all of the partners for their support all the time. The name of the students are Eric Ildefonso from Glenview High School and Kennedy Jardin from Beaumont High School. I hope I pronounced it right. I got help. And then the highlight was also this month, the Beaumont State of the City. And that was held on September 10th. Mayor Mike Lara presented on our city's current success and bright future. Board President Melissa Williamson, Board Member Susie Lara, Cabinet, and myself have attended the event. Beaumont High School culinary arts students prepared delicious hors d'oeuvres that were served at the event, and the Beaumont High School Air Force GROTC cadets presented colors during the national anthem. They make us all so proud. Glenview High School had ribbon cutting yesterday on September 22nd. Many dignitaries and members of the public, along with a lot of our staff members, went to support the event. It's an $8 million project That was made possible also by the 2008 voter-approved Measure Z. The project included 4 new furnished classrooms, restroom facilities, ADA pathways, and many more. Shade structures and some great areas for learning. Board President Melissa Williamson, Board Vice President Jeff Brown, Board Members Susie Lara, and Board Members David Sanchez attended the event. And then among the highlights of the dignitaries, Superintendent of Riverside County Office of Education, Dr. Gomez, was in attendance. And again, Mayor Mike Lara was in attendance, among many other dignitaries. So again, the community is always there to support the district, whether at the county level or the local level. As far as the calendar for September 29th, 2025, we have another ribbon cutting for our educational facilities expansion project to accommodate expanded learning opportunities, staff, and all of their training and their supplies that they have to go throughout the year to provide their services. Our College and Career Expo at Beaumont High School will be on September 30th. As far as October, since that's going to come so soon, next week is October 1st, we will have our presentation at the Morongo Golf Club course. And it's actually the Chamber of Commerce breakfast, and we're always invited to attend that. But this time they invited us to give update on the district priorities, district student achievement, and our plans to accommodate student growth. So again, if you are interested, please sign up and attend that breakfast. Our homecoming will be on October 3rd, and then California Admissions Day observed on October 13th, and the district will be closed. October 16th, we will actually participate in the Great California Shakeout. October 28th, we will have a regular board meeting. We also have another board meeting on October 14th. Sorry, I missed that on the list. So there's 2 in October. And that is it, Mr. Vice President. I usually say Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Kakish. We will move to approve the consent agenda. Actions prepared for consent agenda items are consistent with adopted and approved policies of the district and are deemed routine in nature. They will be acted upon in a single motion without discussion unless any member of the Board of Trustees requests that an item be removed from consent agenda. In that event, it will be taken up in the order indicated on the main agenda. Would anyone like to remove an item from the consent agenda? No. Okay. I would like to call for a motion to approve items 10.1 to 10.5.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. And the motion passes. All right. Item 12.1, conduct a public hearing regarding Beaumont Teachers Association, BTA, and California Teachers Association's reopener negotiations proposal to the Beaumont Unified School District for the 25-26 school year. I will open the public hearing at 6:26 p.m. Well, I only have 15 more seconds.
Nobody wants to talk.
And I will close the hearing at 6:27 PM. And I would like to approve the Beaumont Teachers Association and California Teachers Association reopener negotiation proposals to the Beaumont Unified School District for the school year 25-26. Can I hear a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. And the motion passes. All right, 12.3, conduct a public hearing regarding Beaumont Unified School District's reopener negotiations proposal to the Beaumont Unified School Districts. I feel like I just did this.
Teachers Association, it's us to them now.
Oh, it's us to them, okay. The Beaumont Teachers Association, okay. Conduct a public hearing for the reopener negotiations proposal to Beaumont Teachers Associations and California Teachers Associations for the 25-26 school year. And opening at 6:28. I am hearing no comments. Closing at 6:28. I would like to approve the Beaumont Teachers Association's reopener negotiations proposal to Beaumont Teachers Association and California's Teachers Association for the 25-26 school year. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. And the motion carries. All right, and I'd like to approve the California School Employees Association, CSEA, and its Beaumont Chapter 351's reopener negotiation proposals to Beaumont Unified School District for the 25-26 school year. Do I hear a motion?
We needed to open the public hearing.
Yeah, 12.4, 12.5 is a public hearing.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you. 12.5, yes, opening a public hearing at 6:30 PM. Any comments? All right, closing the public hearing at 6:30 PM. Now we will approve the California School Employees Association and its Beaumont Chapter 351's reopener negotiations proposal to Beaumont Unified School District for the 25-26 school year. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
I think, Petra, you can abstain from.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mace. Okay, yep. Okay, and the motion carries, and we will, 12.7, we will conduct a public hearing, Beaumont Unified School District's reopener negotiations proposal to CSEA and its Beaumont Chapter 351 for the 25-26 school year.
I will open the public hearing at 6:32. Any comments? And I will close the public hearing at 6:33. All right, and we will approve the Beaumont Unified School District's reopener negotiations proposal to CSEA and its Beaumont Chapter 351 for the 25-26 school year. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Call for the vote. And the motion carries. All right. We will approve the certificated personnel assignment order listed on the report dated September 23rd, 2025. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. And the motion carries. Item 1210, approve the classified personnel assignment order listed on the report dated September 23rd, 2025. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. And the motion carries. Approve the administrative and confidential personnel assignment order listed on the report dated September 23rd, 2025. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none. Call for the vote. And we have an introduction.
Vice President Brown, members of the board, Superintendent Kakish, cabinet, colleagues, and guests. We are happy to announce the appointment of Hillary May to the position of Behavioral Health Coordinator. Mrs. May joined the Beaumont Unified School District team in 2018. She has held the positions of substitute psychologist, mental health counselor, and behavioral health therapist. Prior to joining Beaumont, Hillary was a school psychologist for Saddleback Valley Unified School District and an elementary teacher at Norris School District and Yucaipa-Calamasa Joint Unified School District. Mrs. May earned her Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies from California Baptist University, her Master of Arts in Educational Psychology from Azusa Pacific University, and her doctorate in Marriage and Family Therapy from Loma Linda University. Please join us in welcoming Ms. May to her new position as Behavioral Health Coordinator.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Kakish, cabinet, colleagues, and community members. It is with deep gratitude and enthusiasm that I accept the Behavioral Health Coordinator position for Beaumont Unified School District. I am truly honored to step into this role knowing the importance of supporting the well-being of our students, families, and staff across the district. Throughout my career, I have seen how timely behavioral health support can transform a student's ability to learn, connect, and succeed. I look forward to working and continue working alongside an amazing school district team to strengthen our system of supports and expand access to resources so that every student has the opportunity to thrive. Having my 4 children here and my mother tonight means so much to me. They are the reason that I'm so deeply committed to building stronger supports for students and families. As I begin this role, I'm committed to ensuring that our students have high-quality opportunities in an environment that is safe and supportive. By improving access to supports and opportunities, we can give every student the tools to overcome challenges, build resilience, and reach their full potential. So thank you again for your trust and confidence. It is a privilege to serve our students, families, and community in this capacity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. May? Dr. May? Would you like to introduce your family?
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so I have an 8th grader, Bryson. And then I have a 6th grader, Presley. And a 1st grader, Walker. And a new to school TKer who's 4 years old, and that's Sutton. And my mom, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. May.
Congratulations.
Item 13.1, we will receive an update on the district's capital facilities program.
Good evening, Vice President Brown, Superintendent Kakish, and Board of Trustees. This evening's capital facilities update is focused on the Beaumont Early Childhood Education Center. The design committee is excited to present to you an update of where we're at with this project. They have been working diligently throughout the year in putting together some schematics and some designs to present to you as a recommendation, but also for your review and input. This evening, Mr. Roger Clark from Runo Clark, our architect and engineer on the project, will be presenting this evening.
Thank you, Sergio. Members of the board, Superintendent Kakish, good to see you again. Pleased to be here this evening to show you some of the design work that's been going on. I do want to say thank you to Gabby Toledo, principal out at Anna House, and all the staff that's provided, just terrific input into the design for this facility. So without further ado, this says approved schematic design, but of course, if the board wants to change this, we're looking for your input and get your ideas of what should go into this. And so this is at the Anna House site, but it is designated as a kind of a separate facility for early education. And so we've been working with staff on how we can develop a project at this site. And so what you're seeing up there is the existing site. It has the parking drop-off, and then the proposed location for the new building in kind of that darker green area. And so what we started looking at is how could we locate a new building on this campus, creating 8 classrooms, an administrative area, playgrounds, and we started grouping, and then also parking, drop-off, bus access, all of those things that create a holistic facility. And so what we started looking at was creating a main entry that you see there, kind of where it says Lot B in campus entry. We separated out the parking lots because there's a challenge at that site in terms of just traffic flow, and so we're still working on that. But we created this kind of Lot B and Lot C so that the staff for the early education could have areas to park, parents when they're dropping off students and bringing them in to the facility have a place to go. And so we've designated Lot C right now, again, if budget allows, but we think that it's within the budget constraints right now is for the staff parking, and then we also have parking for parents and then a bus drop-off area that you see there. Then as we come into the center, and I'm just going to go to the kind of diagram here, using the buildings to protect the playground area. And so we try not to keep, especially the youngest children exposed to traffic and people seeing them and that kind of thing. And so they're kind of in this protected zone, if you will, by the buildings that front the street and the traffic and cars and all of that. And so there is that single point of entry, and you see the arrow that points to the gates, and that's where the students come in. But once the students are all there in the morning, That's closed off and locked, and then parents and anyone visiting is, of course, coming through the main administrative area. This is just starting to show you what the facility looks like. And so when we're doing early education, we look at a number of things. Restrooms are kind of paramount in terms of having immediate access, but this facility is a little bit different because it serves some special needs kids. And so looking at those, we create a little bit larger restrooms so that they can have changing facilities and the ability to take care of those students. We also incorporated workrooms in there, and Gabby and her staff really wanted to have areas where teachers could come in and staff could work with groups of students in those. And so those aren't just going to be storage rooms or anything. They're actually going to be workrooms for staff to work with students. And so that was an important piece. You see off to the left the administrative function there. As you come in, there's a reception protected so that people don't just wander onto the campus. Conference space so that they can meet with parents, whether they're doing IEPs, whatever is going on. And then as we move back, there's actually a health office, restrooms, a principal's office, and then some assessment rooms. And the idea of, again, is always keeping the programmatic needs of these students in mind with the design. And then moving out into the playground area from all of those classrooms, and then really focusing all those towards that outdoor environment and having that connection. Within the classrooms, there's areas for quiet areas, calming areas within there. And so we're still working on some of the details, but every room has access to a restroom, and then restrooms from the playgrounds and for both staff and for students.
Can we ask a question now? Or
Absolutely.
Do you want to wait?
No, ask.
So go back to the slide 5.
Yeah.
So the workrooms, you said those were workrooms for them to work with students?
Yes, so almost similar to like an RSP space,
Okay.
where you need to pull some students out and work specifically. Maybe you're working with speech pathology, and Gabby could probably come up here and articulate it much better than I could. But really, it's so that they can meet the needs of those students one-on-one or in small groups.
Okay. And the quiet areas, you said, where are
So the
those?
quiet areas, you see that kind of white square in the corner of the classrooms, and maybe it shows up better right here.
Okay.
Kind of in that you see there's a C swing, and then the idea of creating just a zone within that classroom.
Got it, okay.
Instead of having a designated room that they go into, really just keeping them there, but giving them an area where they can calm.
Okay, makes sense, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And please feel free to ask any questions. So this is just kind of a blow-up of that administrative area. You see a laundry room in here. You see, and again, it's catering or looking at the needs of these special students that need a little bit extra attention. And then creating these assessment spaces where, again, IEPs can go on while also other meetings. And so really working with the staff and getting their input into what really should go into this design. We created areas so that there can be outdoor shaded areas outside the classroom. And again, that's kind of as an extension of that space. This is just looking at it from the street view, kind of, and then from the parking lot of what you see. And so catering to, looking at it, in concert with the existing architecture and the sloping roofs that you see out there, and we'll show you a picture in just a moment, but not necessarily copying that same feeling. It is its own facility. And then this view gives you a view of what it looks like from the interior of the courtyard. And this is just a flat view, what we call an elevation. And so in a moment, you'll see a rendering of what that looks like. Then we started looking at color and things for play areas and those kinds of things. How do we engage with students and create interactive playgrounds and that kind of thing. And so we're working with the staff on the development of this, and that's kind of the next part of what we're going to be doing, of all the details of all the play equipment and those things that engage the kids. I do want to go back if I could. I think I missed something right here in the playground area. We put in this tricycle path, and you see it kind of there with the white stripe on it, but the idea of, maybe you get that imaginative play going on that idea of kind of the racetrack, and it has areas where they can pull their tricycles over, what have you. There's a shade shelter out there where they can have lunch outside. There's interactive play equipment. There's areas for seating. And then the idea, and they kind of made us, keep looking at it in terms of supervision. And so making sure that it's easily supervisable. I don't want to take up too much time because I know Joy's got the better news here. But looking at these kind of concepts of color and graphics and making an environment that isn't too stimulating but is still engaging for students. And then this is just some concepts in classrooms and in spaces of what can happen. Some of the colors, but keeping those, at a calm level.
I made a comment about one of
Yes,
those.
ma'am.
The reception area, that's not what it's going to look like,
No.
is that correct?
No.
Because that's too open.
Yes.
There's no security there.
Yes, it is.
So, okay, all right,
I think that's really more for the color. and
Okay, I
feel
wasn't
of it
sure.
That way.
okay.
And so this is kind of looking at it from the parking lot, and I mentioned there's a photograph here. Again, the sloping roofs, but not necessarily copying. You see the windows on, towards the streets are minimized, except for the administrative. We're trying to kind of dress up the fences a little bit, making them something more inviting for these young children. And then the playground area, creating that engaging environment that can still be easily supervised.
I want to go back to that one, too. I have a question on that one.
Absolutely.
So this is not the actual design, or is it?
It is. Right now, again, it's, we haven't finalized it with staff. There's still a lot more development that has to come on. But if you have specific concerns, certainly we need to take those into account.
What's the purpose of the little bridge?
Really just to give them an idea of texture and feel, so as they're walking, sometimes what we do is, for example, on that tricycle path, we'll have them go over brick or textures so that they get that sensory feel of that. And so that was the idea of the bridge also. But it doesn't have to be in there either.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but those are like little extras that I don't know that we necessarily have to have on campus. But they're nice to have kind of thing, right? So, and the shade structures over the door.
Mrs. Lara, would it
Yes.
help if Mrs. Toledo can shed some light on why they need some of the differentiated texture in the playgrounds?
I just want to make sure that we're staying within the realm of that we're not overdoing design, so to speak.
Yeah, because architects tend to be so artistic.
Yeah, Roger.
So she's.
That's all I'm getting at, really.
I
I
understand.
kind of want to make sure that
Yeah.
we're not overdoing or over-designing, because we have to be careful with what we're spending our money on. I would much rather prefer, if we were going to spend extra money, to spend it on extending those blue shade pop-outs over there over the
Yeah.
doors across the whole thing, instead of just little sections. Because shade is always a need. There's never enough shade at a school site, ever. So
Okay.
that's just something for me that I was curious about. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's a good example here.
Yeah.
Just extend the awning out
Yeah.
instead of the pillars.
We can certainly look at that.
I mean, it might cost more, but, I mean, would you like more shade, or do you want to have a bridge? I don't know, just a question.
Okay. This is really just a concept board. This is not a part of the design.
Okay.
So the idea of, again, those textures, those interactive environments for students. And I think that's the last slide.
My only concern, I have several, but Mrs., who are you again? Miss Laura. I agree with Miss Laura on the overhang. I'd rather see that entire area have a bigger overhang for when we have inclement weather, as well as the sun that we have here. But I would like to know, do we have grounds involved at all? Because we've seen a lot of beautiful
Yes.
gardening that goes on and hedges and stuff. It goes in, and then within 2 years, it's out. Kids have trampled it. I'd just rather see the grass grow right, like on slide 14, the grass go right up to the concrete without the shrubs. Trees, I'm okay with trees. For some reason, those seem to survive around here. But the shrubbery,
Okay.
our groundskeepers don't keep up with it. That looks like pampas grass, but I know it's just a rendition.
It is,
rendition.
yeah.
But
I know the staff met today, actually. So,
and I don't want them to just sit there and say, oh, we can do it, but then I look at everything else we have and go,
Exactly.
come on, guys, you really can do it? I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah.
But. and
Some
we're
of it
almost-
has to do with the water
Yes.
and the,
we're
mean,
trying
I-
to be water-wise, too.
Yeah.
We
Right.
can do drip irrigation and things with shrubs that, take a lot less water than what we can do if we have to do a lawn area, and so.
And I think all these look really good, but
Oh, it looks
it's beautiful,
Thank you.
but can we really afford all that?
We think that everything that we're showing right now is within, the budget, but of course, we need to make sure that we stay on top of that. Costs are volatile right now in the construction.
I don't think the
industry.
bridge is going to compensate for all of the overheating.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, that bridge is probably about $700 or $800. It's not,
What's DSA going to say about that bridge? I want to know.
they're not even going to look at it.
What's that?
They won't even really look at that. That's,
Oh, but that bicycle path,
Piece of
that'd be the
equipment.
coolest thing ever if I was a little
Right?
kid.
Yeah.
That's right. But those are just my concern. Basically, it just, I
Sure.
want to make sure that we don't overdo it, we stay within our budget, and it looks nice, and we provide everything we need to provide, but we don't have all the extra little gingerbread.
Yeah. We've got a ways to go. So this is just, what we call schematic design. Then we go through, we start developing all the
Okay.
materials and everything and all the details that you're talking about with the landscape. And we're starting to meet with the maintenance staff right now, technology, everyone that's involved in the project. And so.
And
we
those
go-
big rocks that you have in some of your landscaping?
Yeah, we took those out here because of safety. So
I was going to say, yeah, you got little kids going to climb all over those
Yeah.
things.
kids love them. but-
That's right, they do, so.
Textile.
Yeah, when they fall and break their arm, yeah, that's a
You
feeling.
only do it once.
I would know.
Anything else?
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Roger.
Thank you so much.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve Team Civics LLCs to provide the feasibility assessment, ballot measure development, and public information for future ballot measures to improve services and facilities?
I'll move for discussion.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay.
Go ahead, David.
Just for public disclosure, this will be the same firm we've used now for the third time to help us with the ballot measure. Have we received a report on how things will be done differently?
We have, through the study session, have answered some of the questions, but I know our consultant is available today if you would like to ask any questions. Of course, us as staff too. So
Okay.
do you want me to start by answering the question and then they can add to it?
No, let's have the consultant come up.
Okay.
Come on up. Yes, we did have a study session. Not a lot of people listen to our study sessions. This one, we have a bigger audience right now. Can you go through the game plan for us?
Absolutely. Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent. I'm Joy Coomer. I'm one of the partners of Team Civics. And we did have a study session where we talked through some of the challenges that we faced before. We looked not only at our last result from 2024, but also different ways that we thought we could improve on that last result from 2024. I have worked with the district over the years, including the ballot measure, this last ballot measure that just didn't pass, and the previous ballot measure, though we came on very, very late in that process. And there were a lot of challenges the first time we worked with the team. So we didn't even really have an opportunity to run a great campaign or even a great communication effort the first time. So that is one way that we plan to change and do things differently. This last time, I do think that there were some very specific challenges. And when we're able to look back and review, what happened, we can really see some of those places where we know that we can improve. We obviously had a challenge with the communication around who could vote on the potential measure and the decision to do the CFD areas. So one of the things that we're looking at this time is really deciding, was that even a good idea? Do we need that moving forward? And if we don't, then let's make sure that we really communicate around those areas. When we looked at the map of where we had the most support and where we received the least support, we could see that those places where it was very confusing about who could vote on the issue and who couldn't, we received some of our lowest support. We also know that those families are retired families, and many of them don't have students in school, but we do think by having honest and open conversations with them, sharing with them what the realities are and the needs are at the district, and why we want to include them in the vote going forward, that it'll help open up some of that dialogue and help us build a better bond program. The other thing that we talked about with the board and would like to explore is you have two separate sets of needs, and really there isn't a single bond that would allow you to accomplish all of that. But one of the things that we would like to explore is taking a look at two bonds, potentially, including being able to take advantage of some room that you have left because you're paying off an existing bond, which means that we might be able to pass a bond without increasing taxes for any of your local residents. So we would just ask them to continue paying what they're already paying, and it would likely raise a little over $80 million for you to be able to deal with some of the repairs and updates at your existing schools.
I need to ask you a question about that.
Yes.
Do you feel that you could communicate that clearly to the community? Because last time we had communication issues with the community, and that's why it failed. So, as Mr. Sanchez said, this is our third time with you, and we lost twice already. So I don't mean to be harsh or anything like that. I'm trying to make sure that I make the right decision for the district, right? So to me, I think it's a great idea, but at the same time, it could be very confusing to the community. Are we doing two bonds? Are we doing one bond? What are we doing? And how are we going to communicate that to the community, what we're trying to do? Because I don't think a lot of people are really going to get that.
We have had great success looking at two bonds and articulating what specifically can be done with each bond. I've actually had a lot of success in other communities where we've looked at that as a potential option. In regards to the no tax increase, there are many districts, again, that have gone through that process of not only will the ballot language be very clear that we're not increasing taxes, that in fact it will, keep the tax, what people are paying, exactly what they're paying now. But part of the communication change that we are really looking at is not only outreach to those senior communities that before were excluded, but also creating a feasibility committee. And I'm not talking about just bringing together a few staff people, but really trying to identify key people in the community and ask them to be a part of this process. And there are a couple districts where we have struggled to pass bonds in the past because of different challenges. And what we found is that when we bring people together to really understand the issues and give them an opportunity to be a part of the process and to help, bring to you to say, look, we have looked at all of this, and we really believe that this is the best path forward. So I can't promise you today that 2 bonds is the best path forward until we really talk to the community and not only do outreach to them, but ask them to be a part of this process too. And again, I've seen really good success with that. It's not just me telling you, here's how we talk to the community. It's about bringing those people and saying, what would you like to see? What do you want for this school district? How do you want us to continue being better? This last time, yes, there may have been some miscommunications in the community about the bond, but honestly, I take responsibility for the things that I could have prevented, but I couldn't, there was no way to stop the county from printing ballots that shouldn't have gone out. I can't, you know, we did everything we could to communicate the correctness of what should happen, but ultimately, that still was the county's responsibility, and it's just confusing. There's a lot of, I don't want the conversation to be about, does my vote count? Because, you know, not just here in Beaumont, but on a national level, people are worried about whether their vote counts. And I just want to acknowledge that that was a challenge the minute we found out that those ballots were going to be printed that way. I never want someone to have to worry about that.
Joy, can I ask a question about that real quick? Because
Yes.
this is something that I haven't really been able to get an answer for. And it was something that you mentioned earlier and then kind of wrapped back around to the same issue again. So since we're back on it,
Yes.
in the previous election, in the contested areas, I don't know what to call them, do we have data on how many people were, as you described, confused and chose not to vote versus how many people voted no? Like, do we have any data on like blanks? Like, no vote filed on this?
We certainly can provide the number. It's called a drop-off, right? How many people voted the top of the ticket but didn't make it all the way down and vote on Beaumont? And we can even vote on the bond measure, right?
Right.
So they voted for president at the top, but they didn't make it all the way down and vote for the measure on the bond, you know, our bond measure.
Okay, that's
So-
one way to describe it, but
Yes.
previously you were saying that people were confused, and so they were like, so which is it? Did they drop off? Did they not make it all the way down to the bottom, or did they?
The drop-off wasn't the issue. When
Right.
people are confused,
They vote no.
they vote no. When people are confused, they vote no. This is, like, we see this all the time. And when we looked at the map during the study session, and I apologize, I just don't have it here with me because I would show it again. What we see is those areas right around the senior centers, almost without exception, were some of our lowest numbers. And I don't know I don't know how you voted on the bond measure. No one knows how you voted on the bond measure. We don't know how people vote on a particular measure, but we can look at each precinct and we can say, did that precinct vote yes or no? And that helps us understand where we need to improve our communications. Now, people who were part of the SFID, and I'll try to, those people who could vote on the measure, it's pretty simple, right? I could be a neighbor, someone right next door, and they could vote on it, and they didn't receive a letter saying your vote won't count. And I could be across the street, and I could have received the letter that said, it's on your ballot, but your vote doesn't count. And now all of a sudden, there are these two sides of the street, and both of them are confused. Is my vote going to count? Is my vote not going to count? I don't know what's going on. I can't trust this. I'm not going to be supportive of it. When we do the survey, we can certainly look at asking a question, to gauge individual people's impressions. What I'm looking at is the data, and I'm, taking into consideration what we heard on the ground when people were, talking to the neighbors, when people were going out. So I know incidentally the conversations that we're having, but I can't, there is nothing that says for sure, like there is no 100% thing unless I go talk to those people. And so that's part of what I'm proposing in our new plan, is going to talk to those groups and saying, we want you to be a part of this. We are not going to create an SFID. We're not going to create a school facilities improvement district. Our schools impact our entire community, and we want your opinion as we move forward with this plan. We want you to be a part of this process. So the reason the district put them out, created the SFID and took out those senior communities was to give them a break. It was all with a very good intent, to say, you've supported our community in the past, and we understand you're retired, and so we're going to take you out, and you won't have to pay it. So it was about who was going to pay for it, not who was about who got to vote on it.
Or excluded.
Yeah, or who was excluded. It was a thoughtful decision that
Was not communicated well.
Was not communicated well. And we missed an opportunity there. So that's one of the things that we're looking to make sure that we do not make that mistake again.
So in the future, you wouldn't recommend to a board to carve out a senior area?
We do that all the time in lots of districts for the very reason I suggested. Because a lot of times they're on fixed incomes and the district doesn't want to tax them.
And so, to my point on that is that there's seniors that live within areas that are not at the 55-plus communities, and they still have to pay it. So it's not fair. I told you this at the workshop, so I don't think that's a good way to do that. It's just not a fair way to treat seniors, right? When you're looking at it that way, I wish I would have realized that when we were talking about this last time we decided to do it that way. Had I known that, had I realized that there were going to be seniors paying for it and seniors not paying for it, I wouldn't have gone along with that. So it just never crossed my mind. And so that concerns me. And then how many times have you done the two bonds on one ballot before? How many times has your company done that?
I would say, firm-wide, we have done hundreds of bonds around the state.
But two at a time?
I'm just, trying to think. I think each year there's probably at least two. Each time so each bonds only go on the ballot in even-numbered years.
Right.
And each year, if I'm thinking about our firm as a whole, we've done probably two. We have a district right now that is looking at two measures. They have a special circumstance that they're doing two measures. I had two districts in 2024 that had two bond measures. Again, I'm not saying this is the exact way we do it, but I'm saying it does give you an opportunity to communicate your needs to the district and to say, this one can do the repairs that we need to do, and this one can build the new schools that we need to build. And some people may say, yeah, that's just not going to work for us. And then, we bring that information together to help make the best informed decision.
I think the idea is our main communication point that we really need to articulate very well is that as a district, we're learning from Measure 2024. And we want the community to know that we've listened to their concerns and we're taking it so seriously. So therefore, we're looking at options. And we will start this superintendent facilities advisory group by explaining that and asking for their help to confirm the concerns. Because what we heard on social media, what we heard through our walking the precincts, also could be that's not the general public opinion. So that group can help us shape that, and then we can actually form questions, better questions to go survey actual sample residents from, we do it very scientifically where you take 500 from each one of the groups that are voting on that measure and test all of that before we give you a final recommendation. Because if we are wrong about some of our community members don't want new schools because they feel like we should spend the money in our current schools, we'll be able to have an option for them. And if we feel like some are really wanting additional schools so that way that we can keep the programs and continue the smaller class sizes and all of that, then we have an option for them. But if this advisory group really gives us other options, or they confirm that these are not the right concerns and we're going in the wrong pathway, then we pivot and actually come up with a new plan. So we're really relying on including a lot of community members that are going to help us. There was some community members that wanted to be included, and I think they felt like we just didn't care and we didn't ask them. So we're going to reach out and include some of these members too. And hopefully they'll be able to serve.
Yes. I mean, we want to make it so that actually it's easy for people to join. So, you know, we might be able to look at it like a hybrid option. So people who want to be able to join, you know, online can join online if it's too hard for them to come to one location for a meeting. But really the idea is to get people together and have them share their input, their experiences, talk to them about some of the options, share with them, honestly, some of the same information that we went through during the study session, and really use that. Because I don't think that excluding senior communities is right for every community. I just worked on Menifee's bond measure, and the district there asked me, should we create an SFID, and should we exclude the senior community? And I said to them, let's talk to the senior community. Let's like include them in this process. And there they included the senior community. The bond passed in 2024, and we were successful. Here we had gotten some messages that people wanted to be excluded, and we pursued that path. I don't think it worked for us. So I'm saying, let's talk to the communities, let's make them a part of the process, and let's make the best decision for your district and for your community.
Okay, so if we have, for the contract, because tonight we're looking at your contract.
Yes.
So does that include unlimited meetings and surveys and all that, or will the cost increase the more we do?
So my services are a flat rate. It doesn't matter how many times I come to a meeting, how many times I do a Zoom call, how many times I visit with the staff. That does not change. The survey costs, each time we go out and do a survey, there is a cost to that.
That's actually a separate process.
Yeah.
Usually we do the survey anyway.
Well, but I mean, like, you know, going to an HOA meeting or going to.
Oh, no, yeah.
So
That's part.
I'm just basically your communication is it going to be limited, or is it going to be like an unlimited amount of communication so that we can keep at it and not go, okay, we need to pay more money in order to have more meetings?
No. I'm not, again, it's a flat rate.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, yeah.
Yeah, it's not, if I come every week for a meeting, I come every week for a meeting. That's what I do.
Our idea is to actually have a town hall meeting in every senior citizen community, and then multiple town meetings in key areas to cover all of the other areas. There's also help in developing brochures and educational material based on district information that is relevant to that specific area. So we just learned, like, for example, I just presented to our leadership team or our staff meeting for the district office. In one of them, I had a follow-up of an employee that lives in Cherry Valley. And I had talked a little bit about the fact that I think in Cherry Valley, it's more mature community, and we need to let them know about how this impacts them when it comes to property taxes. And this person brought to my attention that really in that community, it's not about how much they pay for taxes, and it's not about it's about the value that's going to come back to them. Yeah. And so that was a really key information for us to now build our communication with the community based on what is the value for that community going to be from the school district. So it's things like that where we have to go out and talk to communities and cater the materials to actually give them information. and then continue to adjust as we go to a town hall meeting. What we are anticipating, there'll be things that are going to come up at the town hall meeting as questions that we haven't thought about. And so we go back to the drawing board and draft another communication and hope to answer their questions regarding that. So it's a continuous process. It's a lot of work. I mean, it's a chance we're taking, and there's no guarantee that we're going to pass either one of those bonds.
Right.
But it's also, it clears our conscience that we've done everything we can in our power to give this community as much information as possible to make an informed decision. Once they make that decision the day of voting, then we just act on that. We respect the final outcome of that election, and then we move forward with options. We passed, we hit the grounds running. We did not pass, we go and implement options that we will be actually planning for simultaneously. So in a way, our staff are going to work double. I can't make classified or certificated work double without paying. But all of our management staff are really going to be doing both, like planning for as things are going to stay the same and we're going to build schools or rent and increase capacity in other schools. But there's also many committees and many staff members are going to be planning for the options that will actually be implemented immediately if the bonds don't pass. So all of that, I'm excited about the work actually because there's so much to learn in this process, in both processes. What options do we have and how this community supports the district is going to really dictate how we move forward.
All right, one last question then. So why should we hire you instead of someone else?
Well, I do know your community. I've had an opportunity to spend time here. I've had an opportunity to learn more. And I think that my knowledge of knowing those pieces helps us move this process along faster. I've also worked really closely with your team. And again, this is my second board meeting. I am coming here because I'm dedicated to helping you pass. I'm not being paid for my time. I wasn't being paid for the time I came to the study session. Like, I care about the work that we do and helping you be successful. And I'm here because I want this opportunity to help you pass a bond. And I want to be a part of this process. And I want to help build the best bond program, whether it's one bond or two bonds that we look at, that will help us be successful this next time. So I think the quickness of being able to turn around and get back out into the communities is part of it. My personal and, I am invested in your district and helping you be successful. Like, I care as much, I want to say I care as much as you do, but I know this is your community.
Yes.
But I do really care deeply about making this right and getting us across the finish line.
Let's say third time's a charm. Sorry for the drilling, but,
No,
I understand.
It is all fair.
Actually, that's what I love about our board. I mean, a lot of times we look like we're just moving things along, but when it's really, when it matters and it's going to impact the future of the district, this board does not hesitate to ask all of the hard questions.
Okay, I think I'm done.
Feel free. I'm willing to answer more hard questions.
More questions from the board? All right.
Mr. Sanchez?
Oh, no, it's balancing on too much information. And pedantic, is that the word I want to use?
I have no
That's
idea.
pretty close. It's a good one.
Yeah, that's not the word I want to use.
Getting close. All right.
We'll start tuning you out, sorry.
All right.
Wow,
So-
David.
I want to thank everybody for their energetic discussion. It was actually a great discussion on an incredibly important topic. So I'm going to call for the vote. Right? Oh, to be clear, we're voting on approving the contract for this.
I love the number too, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just like, where did zero come from? It should have been $6 more. Ay. This one's tough.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
sorry that it's tough, but
It's
Yes.
okay. Thank you for
But the
giving me
motion
a
carries.
chance. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item 13.3. Wait. Yes, 13.3. Huh? I did 13.
J13, 13.3.
you're on
Yes.
item 13.3, yes, keep
Oh,
going.
yeah, sorry.
You're good.
Approve Form J13A, request for allowance for attendance due to emergency conditions. This request for allowance of attendance due to emergency conditions, J13A, is used to obtain approval of attendance and instruction time credit under the following conditions. When one or more schools are closed because of conditions described in Ed Code Section 41422, on August 29th, 2025, Beaumont Middle College High School was without running water and had to close for the day. The purpose of this waiver is to recoup the ADA that was lost, and upon board approval, the waiver will be submitted to the California Department of Education for final calculation and approval. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
And discussion? I have actually something interesting. So when we got the information about this, when it was happening, I was like, all right, really? This is, like, I was a little astonished that, because it's a fairly new facility over there, and so I was a
Oh,
little.
well, Banning was
Yeah.
doing something.
Yeah, it was the city that had a sort of an impact on what was going on, but
Right.
when the initial communication came in, I was thinking about the actual facility itself. I was like, we have way older facilities than this.
Right?
But
Yeah.
yes. All right, so call for the vote.
And Miss Laura, I did notice that. It was banning.
Sorry, just an
Yeah, well,
automatic.
you know. Yeah. All right, so
Nothing but love, David.
that's 13.3. So 13.4, authorize the establishment of an additional school booster club for the 25, I assume that's 25, 20, no, the 2025 calendar year.
I'll move approval.
Second?
Discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. And the motion carries. 14.1, receive a report from the California School Employees Association and its Beaumont Chapter 351. Do we have any members to give a report? Hearing none. Receive a report from the Beaumont Teachers Association. And Mr. President.
Mr. Council member was at the ribbon cutting yesterday, too. Along with the mayor. Right, Julio?
Yeah, but which capacity? Was he there as the
He was the
president?
council.
Or as the
Yeah,
councilman?
I had
He had
the hat was sideways.
Yeah.
The hat was sideways? You had
Both
both hats
ways.
on? Okay.
Yeah. We
Good
appreciate
evening,
him
Vice
being there.
President, Vice President Brown, through us. Board members, Superintendent Kakish, Cabinet. Julio Martinez here with our brief report for September 23rd, 2025. It was a pleasure attending the Glenview High School new building dedication. Very high quality building, nice to look in, see all the classrooms. It's going to really allow the campus to adapt to their current needs. And it was fulfilling to see the students present there taking pride in their expanding and modernizing campus. BTA was invited to attend the 25th Congressional District Roundtable for teacher union presidents. Congressman Ruiz wanted to hear about pressing issues in his congressional district from a national point of view. We discussed support and funding for Titles I and II and special education. I attended the monthly BTA meetings with Superintendent Kakish and Assistant Superintendents Brown and Castillo, CFO San Martin.
I met also with Special Education Director Gabby Toledo. Again, my classroom safety continues to be one of my focal points during our meetings, but overall they've been very productive. And again, I do appreciate the opportunity for the district to listen to our concerns. I plan to arrange meetings with Dr. Barnett and Dr. Burnett, hopefully sometime in October. And lastly, the BTA Executive Council met with Cabinet. Our discussion included student safety and behavior, PLC collaboration, teacher planning time, facilities, school bond, and the Superintendent's Advisory Committee. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A council member will serve on the Superintendent Advisory Committee.
There you go. You've been voluntold.
All right. We will receive a report from the Beaumont Administrators Confidential Management Employees Group.
Good evening, Vice President Brown, Superintendent Kakish, board members, cabinet, colleagues, and community. First, wanted to welcome our newest member to the BACME team, Dr. Hillary May, as our new behavioral health coordinator. Hillary's been contributing to a number of grants and supporting multiple school sites for some time, and so we're excited about her increased role and leadership. Also want to wish Anthony Kaiser, who's assistant principal at Three Rings Ranch, good luck as he moves on and in his next steps in his career and life, and wish the best for him and his family. Also want to thank everybody who not only planned the ribbon cutting, but all the processes that led up to the establishment of the new classrooms at Glenview High School. Amazing opportunities are going to increase for our students because of that throughout Beaumont, and so I definitely want to thank everybody, as well as community and county officials, our COE superintendent, Dr. Edwin Gomez, and City of Beaumont Mayor Mike Lara for being in attendance and for always being an incredible support of our programs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will receive a report from board member Susie Laura.
I just want to say, yeah, the ribbon cutting yesterday, I agree with Michael. It was great yesterday. It was great to have the community support that we had. There were a lot of people who came out, and I was really happy to see that. Glenview doesn't get quite enough attention, and so I was just glad that people came out and were supportive and all those things, and it was such a well-done event. Appreciate it, and so thank you to the facilities and staff and everybody who participated in putting that together. Appreciated that. It was a little hot in the sun, gotta say, but you know, it is what it is. But on that note, happy fall. That's what I want to say. Finally. That's my report.
Happy fall, Miss Laura. Thank you. And we will receive a report from board member David Sanchez.
Well, thank you. I'm not going to repeat everything that Ms. Laura said. Having an alternative campus, having a newer structure, not just portables, kind of brings us in line with other alternative ed schools that I've seen going up in Riverside and parts of San Bernardino County. It's good to see us invest in a student population that has had a lot of challenges in their lives. So very honored with that. The bond issue is out there. The board just approved it. It doesn't sit easy with any of the board members, because if anybody looked at last time, it was a 50-50. And we know we have to do a 55, and then we were at 55%, we were at 53%. But there's some strong views out there that need to be listened to. Hopefully we can be very civil with each other during that process, and one part of our community who doesn't want any increases in taxes, and another part of the community who does want to see, continued investment in our students. We are a small town, we are growing. Something needs to give. And again, at the end of the day, even if the bond doesn't move through, it's a process that we have to go through to ask for hardship funding through the state. And again, hardship funding doesn't pay 100%, so there still needs to be some type of bucket to draw from. So again, I don't want to see a community become split because of this. It is part of a process, and with the Glenview, seeing the facilities that we have at Glenview, the money that we are able to pull together, we do keep reinvesting into our students' facilities and as much modernization as possible. It just doesn't, isn't frivolously thrown at different fly-by-night programs that you can see in other locations sometimes. With that, I end my speech.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
Thank you.
So I wanted to, again, not necessarily rehash everything that was said, but the ribbon cutting event was amazing. Alternative education is something that's near and dear to my heart. I have very close members of my family who were not, and me to some extent too, who were not really fully equipped to deal with traditional education. That doesn't necessarily mean they weren't equipped to deal with the real world or real life or anything like that. But alternative settings are an amazing sort of pickup group for the kids who really need it. And I know Mr. Sanchez works in that sort of environment every day, and so he can probably speak to this even better than I can. But one of the things that we have all talked about is that, you know, Glenview High School, amazing setting for those kids, but Glenview High School has had a student population of approximately 100, and that student population, maximum student population, hasn't significantly changed since I moved to Beaumont in 2002, when the city limit sign said 9,500 people. So the percentage of our student population who has these sort of catch-up opportunities, the number of kids is exactly the same, but the percentage of kids is significantly different. So I am thrilled that we were able to do something to give some sort of expansion, possibly to 21st, but I think that expanding our alternative education options, and we have added 21st Century Learning Institute, and we have added Middle College, and we have added some other opportunities for kids. I mean, 21st Century Learning has hundreds of kids. Middle College has probably a dozen and a half, maybe. I mean, so that's a great place for sort of an alternative environment. But I just think it's great that we're not just focusing everything on the one marquee, right? The kids, all the kids deserve an amazing experience and a new place to go to school and a nice, you know, not just more trucked in portables, but nice, shiny, brand new brick and mortar facilities. So.
And they have sinks. I was so jealous.
And they have sinks. And they have sinks. Although, yeah, I did have, one of the staff members, actually two of the staff members apparently know what my day job is there, because they came up to me to talk to me about some of their tech issues that they were having in their brand new facilities, so.
There'll always be tech issues. You'll always have a job, come on.
So, yeah, but yes. On that note, I wanted to thank everyone for their time tonight. Yes, Ms. Laura?
Can I just take the liberty to ask our council member a question before we go? Because it is going to impact the school districts. The ordinance you guys just passed for helmets, did you guys not just pass one?
We haven't gotten this, going to the second reading, it's just first reading.
Okay, so they're going to be passing a helmet ordinance in the city of Beaumont that hopefully they're going to be enforcing bicycle riders, especially the motorized bikes.
They can't enforce the state one? That's not possible?
Well, the city is, don't ask me that question, Jeff. Hey, I don't know, I'm just telling you what I've heard.
I mean, I know, the state one doesn't matter.
This will be very helpful, though, for the city to do this. And I appreciate the fact that they're going to do this. So
I got a great picture texted to me last week, something like that, of 3 kids coming across the front of the ESF here. One of them is riding an e-bike, and he's got a kid on a scooter who's holding onto the back of the e-bike, and there's a kid on a skateboard who's holding onto the back of that, and not a single one of them has a helmet on. right in front of the ESF heading to the high school. And I got the picture 3 days in a row, so I know the kids did it all 3 days.
So will you talk to Julio and give that picture to him so he can show the
Yeah,
city council?
just have somebody stand out there and, yeah, this is,
Anyways, sorry for
Yeah.
taking it, but I just saw him sitting there and I had to ask that question because it's
I
going to
know.
impact us, so
Yes.
in a good way.
hopefully it
Yes.
will impact, hopefully it will impact some level of enforcement for those 3 kids.
Right? Okay.
So, yes, thank you, everybody, for your time. We do not need to adjourn to closed session. We have completed our closed session items. And so I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
Really?
Hearing none, call for the vote at 7:37.
Okay, good deal. Good deal, good deal. Hers isn't popping up.
Do they need to try again?
Can she just answer? Refresh? Oh, wait, here it goes, there it goes. There we go. All right.
And the
Thank
motion
you.
carries. We will adjourn the meeting at
Poor thing, there's all kinds of trouble over here, huh?
7:38. Thank you, everybody, for your time, and have a great evening.
Good job, Mr. VP.
This is not your computer, right? No. Okay, I was gonna say, because what I do is I don't ever, I just minimize it basically so that I can come back every time, because I can never remember. So it's like, it just makes it easier.
One signature on the book packet when I was clerk. When I was.
I'm so sorry.